Good morning to all. So today we'll try to understand the difference between these three terms CRL, CRE and CRT in relation to tensile testing of textile materials. Whenever we have to do the tensile testing of any fiber, yarn, fabric, two things we can do. One is we can apply a constant load to the material and measure the extension produced in the material. The other way we can apply constant extension to the material and measure the load which is produced in the material. So we can say rate of increase of load is uniform with time in CRL and rate of increase of specimen length is uniform with time in CRE, that is constant rate of extension. Now the most important point is whenever we are giving constant rate of loading, it is very easy to measure the extension produced in the sample because we just have to measure the length. But when we are increasing the length of the specimen, when the input is increase in length and we have to measure the load, then how we measure the load which is developed inside the sample? So we have to use some load measuring mechanism. Now when we'll study the different instruments, we'll see how different load measuring mechanisms are there. Now how we measure load which is being produced in the sample? How to actuate the load measuring mechanism? Load measuring mechanism needs to be actuated by using the upper jaw. And when we use the upper jaw to measure the load, then upper jaw has to be moved. There is some sort of movement in the upper jaw. If that movement is less than 0.13 mm, which we consider as negligible, which is considered as negligible by ASTM standards, then we say the instrument is CRE. But when the load measuring mechanism moves appreciably to actuate the load measuring mechanism, when the load measuring clamp moves appreciably to actuate load measuring mechanism, then that instrument comes under the category of CRT. What is CRT? CRT is constant rate of traverse. That means we are moving the lower jaw at a uniform rate, but the extension produced in the specimen will depend upon the characteristic of the specimen. Okay. Now the next point is obviously rate of loading is constant in case of CRL, but rate of loading changes in case of CRE and CRT with gauge length and the extension characteristics of the specimen. Now we must note one or two points related to this. One is every CRE instrument is also CRT because constant rate of extension you are producing by moving the lower clamp only. But every CRT instrument is not CRE because if the upper jaw moves appreciably, then that is not considered as a CRE instrument. One more difference we need to understand between CRL and CRE concept. The textile materials are polymeric materials, and before yield point, the relation between load and elongation is different, and after yield point it is different. It's approximately if this is your yield point. So initially for producing a given extension, more load has to be given to the material, but after yield point it flows generally. That means for lesser load, more extension can be produced. So if we are testing one sample on two instruments, one is CRE based and one is CRT based, what will be the difference? Let us try to understand. with CRE principle, maximum load reaches before 3 seconds and rest of time specimen remains at higher load. That means, suppose this is your load extension curve of the general specimen, general fiber, and this is your load axis, this is your extension axis. Now, if we are measuring on CRE principle, then the half time will be here. Half extension, half time. Now, at half extension, what load? This percent, 80% approximately of the load is there for producing 50% of extension. But if we are using CRL, if this much time is being used and this is the half time for CRL, up till this load, this is the 50% of load, and we are getting very less extension as compared to 50%, less than 50% extension, 30%, 20% extension. So what is the point to be noted here is, with CRE principle, maximum load reaches before 3 seconds or very less time, and rest of time specimen remains at higher load. But in case of CRL, initial extensions are very low and afterwards very high extension with small time is there. So nature of the curves of same specimen under two different principles will be slightly different. So this is very nicely given in JEE Booth. You must read, and if there is any confusion, you may contact, please. Now the second topic we are studying today is, which are the factors affecting tensile results. What factors can change the results of tensile testing? So first is test specimen length and irregularity. Whenever we break a specimen, it breaks at its weakest point, and this is called weak link effect. The weakest link will break. So if we take the same yarn sample and test at lower gauge length and at higher gauge length, it has been observed that at lower gauge length, slightly higher yarn breaking load is reported. That means whenever we increase the gauge length, the possibility of weak point coming in the sample length increases. That's why higher gauge length shows lower breaking load. This is the formula given by the Pierce, in which SL is mean strength at gauge length L, SRL is mean strength at gauge length RL, and V is the variation in the yarn strength at gauge length L. Okay. Now the what main point we have noted here is, greater uniformity and lower mean strength is preferable as compared to higher mean strength and more irregularity in the yarn. What I am trying to say is, strength is important, but regularity is much more important, because yarn always break at its weakest point, and end breakage of the yarn during the processing, weaving and spinning, end breakage of the yarn affects the efficiency much more as compared to mean strength. Mean strength is required, but weak point should be very low, and so end breakages are related to weak points, and greater uniformity is much more preferable. So we can say slightly lower average strength with regular yarn is much better. Now the second point is rate of loading and time to break. Most textile materials show an increase in breaking strength with increase in rate of extension together with decrease in extension. What we are saying here is, we take a same sample of yarn and we test the sample at 10 millimeter per second of extension, or maybe 200 millimeter per second rate of extension. It has been observed that if we increase the rate of extension, we get higher breaking load. That is, rapid test results in higher breaking load. Due to viscoelastic nature of textile materials, they require certain time to respond to the applied stress. So if we decrease the time to break, breaking load increases. Now Pierce has also given an equation where F1 minus F2 is equal to 0.1 F1 log to the base 10 T2 upon T1, where F1 is the braking load in time T1 and F2 is the braking load in time T2. We'll do some numericals based on this relation. So now, because time to brake affects the results of tensile testing, it has been standardized as 20 plus minus 3 seconds, so that this factor doesn't change the results. Now the next factor which affects the results of tensile testing is capacity of machine. Capacity of machine means if you take a machine of 10 kg and measure something 1 gram on that, obviously that will be out of range. And if we take a 100 gram machine and we measure 99 grams on that 100 gram machine, so it will be very it will not give accurate results. So capacity of machine is also important, ki what material we are testing and what is the range of load for that machine. If a very weak specimen is tested in a machine with very high capacity, the time to brake will be short, so optimistic results will be produced. Also, the brake of the specimen should not be at the extreme of the instrument capacity. Now the next factor is previous history of specimen. Previous history of specimen means we have already studied about mechanical conditioning. So specimen must not have been strained beyond the yield point earlier. So mechanical conditioning should not have been done on that sample, or any sort of chemical treatment should also not be there. One next factor is effect of humidity and temperature. Humidity and temperature also affects the results of the tensile test. So they should also be constant, as we know 65% and 20 degrees Celsius has been standardized for testing of the textiles. It has been observed that at higher humidity, all the fibers become more extensible. Higher regain fibers are more affected with humidity, and temperature also affects slightly the tensile testing results of textile materials. Now the next factor is clamping problem. Whenever we clamp a specimen and measure and do the tensile testing, we need to observe that clamping pressure should be optimum. Otherwise, if the brake is very much near to any bottom or top clamp, it should not be considered accurate reading. So we need to repeat the experiment. Now the last factor is form of test specimen. This is very important factor. If you are testing the tensile properties of fiber, so if you take single fiber or bundle fiber, how this factor affect the result? If you take single yarn or lee of the yarn, if you take strip test and grab test, we will study in the fabric tensile testing in next 3-4 lectures. So these factors affect the results of tensile testing. Now here one thing we must note, that tenacity, we have already discussed in the first class also, the fiber tenacity given by single fiber method is always higher than fiber tenacity given by bundle method. And in case of strip and grab test, the fabric braking load given by grab test is always higher than fabric braking load given by strip test. We'll discuss in it all this in next few classes. So thank you for today.